Good morning, Metro employees, customers, board members, stakeholders, community leaders, and members of the media. I'm Jennifer Vitas, and I am the Chief Customer Experience Officer here at Metro. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to Metro's annual State of the Agency address and reception. Today we will highlight Metro's significant accomplishments under the direction of LA County Supervisor Hilda Solis, who is the outgoing chair of the Metro Board. I'll give you a preview. In a year when Metro had, for the first time, 2 women of color at the helm. As its board chair and its CEO, there was a great deal of focus on equity. This focus was especially important in a time when our nation grapples with inequities that were made worse by the pandemic. You'll also hear from Metro's first vice chair, Jacqueline Dupont Walker, who will talk about 2 of our biggest projects. Metro CEO Stephanie Wiggins and our incoming board chair, Glendale City Council member Ara Najarian, will then share their vision for Metro over the coming year. Spoiler alert, you might hear a lot about my favorite topic, which is improving the customer experience. You may also have seen parked outside the Metro bus. It has beautiful artwork depicting our customers. The artwork was created by local artists. You'll be able to see it driving around LA County starting very soon, which is perfect as we continue to ramp up our focus on improving the experience for our customers. We also have some very special guests with us today, 3 members of our Youth Council, which was formed in the last year and whose members have already contributed significantly to the success of our agency. Himansi Gupta is co-chair and Orissa Landon is vice chair, and Alan Yamin is communications officer. For a moment in Spanish, buenos días, empleados y clientes de Metro, miembros de la Junta Directiva, líderes comunitarios y miembros de los medios de comunicación. Yo soy Jennifer Vidas, la ejecutiva responsable por la experiencia de cliente de Metro. Es para mí un gran placer darles la bienvenida a la recepción y discurso anual sobre el estado de la agencia de Metro. Hoy destacaremos los importantes logros de Metro bajo la dirección de la supervisora del Condado de Los Ángeles, Hilda Solis, quien es la presidenta saliente de la Junta Directiva de Metro. Les daré un adelanto. En un año en el que Metro tuvo por la primera vez 2 mujeres de color a la cabeza como presidenta de la Junta Directiva y CEO, se enfocó mucho en la equidad. Este enfoque es especialmente importante en un momento que nuestro país lucha con las desigualdades que empeoraron con la pandemia. También escucharán la primera vicepresidenta de Metro, Jacqueline Dupont Walker, quien hablará sobre los 2 de nuestros proyectos más grandes. La CEO de Metro, Stephanie Wiggins, y nuestra presidenta entrante de la Junta Directiva, el concejal de la ciudad de Glendale, Ara Najarian, luego compartirán su visión de Metro para el próximo año. Alerta, es posible que escucharán mucho sobre mi tema favorito, cómo mejorar la experiencia del cliente. Es posible que hayan visto afuera un Metro Art Bus. Tiene hermosas obras de arte que representan a nuestros clientes y el arte fue creado por unos artistas locales. Podrán verlo conduciendo por el Condado de Los Ángeles en las próximas semanas. Y es importante ahora que estamos aumentando nuestro enfoque en mejorar la experiencia de nuestros clientes. Tenemos unos invitados muy especiales con nosotros. 3 miembros de nuestro Consejo Juvenil que se formó el año pasado y quienes han contribuido mucho al éxito de nuestra agencia. Himansi Gupta es su copresidente y Orissa Lamont es vicepresidente y Alan Yamin es su oficial de comunicaciones. Y ahora tengo el gran placer de presentarles a Orissa Lamont. And now I have the distinct pleasure to introduce you to Orissa Lamont.
Thank you, Jennifer, for that introduction. It's a pleasure to be here today before all of you as we prepare to listen and learn from these remarkable leaders in the transportation industry. I am proud to serve as vice chair of the recently formed Youth Council. I'm an incoming senior at Soar High School representing the North County of Los Angeles. I'd like to give you a brief description of what Metro's Youth Council is all about. The Youth Council was a vision of Metro CEO Stephanie Wiggins to engage young people like myself between the ages of 14 and 17 to develop our voices as leaders and provide a youth perspective on Metro projects, services, and create lifetime riders of the system. The council is made up of 27 high school students from various parts of Los Angeles County. We meet monthly to learn more about transportation, while Metro listens on our concerns, receives new ideas, and gains insight on what is important to us. As a council, Our mission is to encourage and engage our peers to advocate and contribute to the creation of a transportation system that we can all be proud to inherit. And now I'm proud to introduce the co-chair of the Youth Council, Himansi Gupta. Thank you.
Thank you, Orisha. I'm excited to serve as the co-chair of Metro's first Youth Council. I'm a student at Diamond Bar High School, and I represent the San Gabriel Valley as part of the 27 diverse members that make up Metro's Youth Council. We engage our peers and provide input on a variety of programs, services, and initiatives at the agency. I'm so proud of what we've accomplished this year. We received a tour of how Metro works. Then we worked with the Metro Civil Rights Group on a planning exercise where we learned the difference between neighborhoods that had resources and services and those that don't. We learned about the importance of safety around the system. We think adults need to learn this too. And we provided input on Metro's approach to working with the unhoused and to communicating with us about riding public transit. I'm sure you won't be surprised to hear that social media is key, especially Instagram and TikTok. It was a busy year, and we are so grateful to Metro for making us such an important priority in its planning. With that, and before we get to the state of agency, we'd like all of you to turn your focus to the television monitors for a special video presentation taking a look at some of the progress the agency has made over the past year, including the Youth Council.
Know that there are several barriers for students completing their college degrees. And so our Go Pass program is created because we do not want transportation to be one of those barriers. We want to make sure everyone has the opportunity to take advantage of this reduction fare program. Many of you will recall the condition of the old station, so this remodel was long overdue. We have a beautiful, bright, and modern station with all the bells and whistles, just as our customers deserve.
Today's announcement signifies our board's continuing proactive efforts to meet and possibly beat our region's increasingly rigorous environmental goals for the use of zero-emission vehicles.
We're pleased to announce that we're launching 12 new stations in the Hollywood area. Metro Bike Share will now go as far west as Runyon Canyon, as far north as the Hollywood Hills, and south to Santa Monica Boulevard.
We have 2.4 miles of new bus lanes along Grand and Olive that will get people where they need to go more efficiently than ever before.
No one, not our employees, our contractors, or our customers, should go to work fearful of what might happen on or around our system.
The project we're now starting will build carpool lanes and extend truck lanes to improve the efficiency and safe operation of this portion of the I-5.
Separating the train tracks from the cars and the pedestrians will not only make this intersection safe, but it will fix what has been a traffic nightmare for years.
The housing crisis and homelessness crisis is just that. It is a big challenge for us. And no one project is going to solve everything, but if we make those appropriate investments, we can make affordable housing a possibility. Metro isn't going to stop here. We're going to keep going. Our goal at Metro is to create 10,000 units, 10,000 units over the next 10 years. There are still many communities that are struggling. That's why these projects are really important.
We will pursue new and more effective ways of addressing homelessness. We will address unhoused people on our system with compassion and dignity.
When we opened the first phase in April 2012, it was estimated that we would reach 27,000 riders a day by the year 2020. We reached that goal in 16 months.
In 2012, Metro became the first transit agency in the entire country to adopt a project labor agreement with targeted hiring goals for federally funded projects. Our project labor agreement provides for skilled workers, a commitment to no work stoppages, and the ability to implement a targeted hiring program for economically disadvantaged workers.
So something you guys might not know about me is that I don't drive. I take public transportation everywhere, and I want to show you guys my new favorite form of public transportation. It's a new service called Metro Micro, and it's rolling out right now around LA, and it is incredible.
It's easier, it's cleaner. I love riding the Metro, especially when I get to meet up with my Angel City homies on game day.
The opportunity with these events is not only to be of service, the lessons learned from the mega events we put into action for everyday service.
And yesterday, as you know, the Metro Board took a major step towards bringing this project to fruition. We adopted the locally preferred alternative.
The area between North Hollywood and Pasadena is one of the most heavily traveled corridors in LA County without premium transit service.
Metro has a plan to make it easier to get around, and that plan involves improving bus service.
When you look at the growth in this area, we're estimating about 2 million residents over the next 2 decades moving here. There is no question in my mind that this is going to be, excuse upon, the gold standard for transportation projects across the region.
It's a testament to the great work of the communities along the way. It's really great that all the elected leaders and the state leaders got everyone on board pulling in the right direction.
Today, we're here because we have reached something called substantial completion. It means our contractor is finished with their work on 2 of the 3 segments of this line. So Metro will now begin a 5 to 6 month testing period of the rail line. During the testing time, Metro operations and maintenance staff will begin their training period before the line opens later this year.
It was Tom Bradley, our greatest mayor, who first said Crenshaw deserves public transportation. And it was a seed that he planted, and that's why we have what we have here today.
The project, as you know, is an absolute game changer for all of us here who live in Los Angeles County.
I want to acknowledge the vision and the leadership of our chair, Supervisor Solis, who always has community top of mind, who wanted to make sure the community was being heard.
This year, both lines open. For decades, we've wanted to build this world-class transit system. Finally, Los Angeles is delivering.
Wow, great video, right? We've accomplished a great deal in the past year, and one of the driving forces behind this accomplishment was the person who's going to speak to us next. Jacqueline Dupont Walker is the first vice chair of the Metro Board and the founding president of the Ward Economic Development Corporation. For 29 years, she's led the corporation in developing over 280 units of affordable housing and leading efforts in economic and community development throughout the region. Please welcome Director Jacqueline Dupont Walker.
Good morning, and thank you, Jennifer, and thank you, Arisha and Himansi, for all you do for the Metro Youth Council. Today, I wear this button, which is an honor to the Youth Council because it was designed by one of their council members for the K-Line. So I hope that before you leave, you will badger someone to get your copy of this. I don't know about you, but today is so wonderful. Not only am I honored to have been elected by my peers on the board as the first vice chair, but I am honored to be standing in the bridge between our outgoing chair, Supervisor Hilda Solis, and our incoming chair, the Honorable Ari Najarian. What a wonderful transition and handoff, don't you think? And now I'll get to the teleprompter. As you can see from the video that was just played, Metro has been hard at work in the past year delivering a public transportation system that meets and exceeds our needs of mobility. And don't forget, it was done in the midst of the pandemic. I wanted to take a few additional moments to highlight 2 projects that Metro is completing this year that will help to deliver public transportation with equity: the Crenshaw LAX line and the Regional Connector. Let's play a short 1-minute video to give you an area view of both projects. And a round of applause for CEO Wiggins, the entire Metro team, the constructors, the board, and more than anything else, the community that has honored us over these years to get this completed. As you know, Metro has finished substantial construction of the K-line. That means that as we move around our community and neighborhood, going to the markets and to church, people are not asking us, when will it happen? It will also welcome its first regular passengers in the coming months. That means you are welcome to please take the K-line from the E-line to LAX and back. Metro has also completed the track work on Regional Connector, which will connect all of our lines. And we hope to have that open to the public by the end of 2022. Neither of these projects would be possible without the hard work and dedication of the leaders that have built Metro from day to day. People like, number one, Mayor Tom Bradley, who some 40 years ago had a vision for a public transportation system, along with Supervisor Kenneth Hahn, Congressman Julian Dixon, State Senator and later Congresswoman Diane Watson, Senators Dianne Feinstein and Barbara Boxer, and all others who have worked so hard and so long to make these projects a reality. These leaders knew that building a system as large and complex as Metro took teamwork, compromise, and vision. They knew that if they built a strong foundation, great projects like the Crenshaw K-line and the Regional Connector would get built. I want to thank them for being strong visionaries, and my colleagues and friends at Metro who are keeping their spirit alive every day with leadership. And none of this would be possible without you, the public, you, the community, you who keep us honorable in what we do. I also want to give a special thanks and shout out to the 11,000 employees of Metro who are here currently, who have been here, who kept mom and pop small businesses in the neighborhoods affected by these massive projects in survival mode during a disruptive construction period. The business interruption, yes. Your board made sure the Business Interruption Fund has awarded more than $32 million to over 430 unique small mom and pop businesses in the areas where we were doing construction, like the K-line and the Regional Connector project, and along that long sought after Purple Line extensions. Yes, local businesses are an essential part of the community fabric. They are the anchors of our neighborhoods, and they contribute greatly to the economic well-being of every neighborhood. I am so glad that when Metro expands the county's transit system, it also helps the legacy of businesses that must be able to survive the dream we give them through construction, and the Business Interruption Fund helps us do that. So thank you again. Thank you can never be overstated and overrated. Thank you, Metro. Thank you to the fellow board members of LA Metro. Thank you, CEO Wiggins, and thank you everyone who is helping us to deliver a public transportation system we can be proud of. We are calling it the best public transportation system on the globe. Can you repeat that? The best transportation system on the globe. And now I am honored and humbled to welcome another member of the inaugural Metro Youth Council, Alan Yamin, who will introduce Supervisor Hilda Solis to be our first keynote address.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alan Yamin, and I serve as the Communications Officer of Metro's Youth Council. I attend Calabasas High School and represent the Las Virgenes Malibu region. To start this year's State of the Agency address, I'm honored to introduce you to a woman who for years has been providing greater transportation options and mobility improvements for both Los Angeles County as well as the greater Southern California region. She's dedicated to protecting the environment and improving the lives of working families and has made great strides in leading the agency over the last year. Please welcome our prior board chair, Los Angeles County Supervisor Hilda L. Solis.
Thank you, Alan, and buenos dias to everybody. It's a beautiful morning to be here with all of you. Exactly 1 year has passed since our last State of the Agency, where I became chair of the Metro Board of Directors. During that event, I made a commitment to be better, to be a better agency. And that commitment has centered around bringing equitable transportation to every resident. And I made that commitment because there are so many inequities around us. In Los Angeles County, you can see those inequities every time you walk down the street. Freeways across the region have split low-income neighborhoods apart. Poorer communities have less trees and experience higher temperatures than wealthier ones. And our unhoused neighbors struggle to provide for themselves each and every day. These are exactly the challenges that I wanted to tackle head on as chair of the Metro Board. Being better is something that all of us should strive for. And I have been so proud to lead Metro over the last year to bring equitable transportation to every resident. But I didn't do it alone. As our first and our second vice chairs, Director Ara Najarian and Jackie Dupont Walker, have been staunch advocates for those in need. And I thank you, directors, from the bottom of my heart. And I can't forget our tremendous CEO, Stephanie Wiggins, who has led us through the pandemic with equity at the forefront. This is also the first time that Metro has had 2 women of color, both in leadership positions. Thank you, Stephanie, for your partnership. We have accomplished so much this past year, and none of it would have been accomplished without you, the senior leadership team, and the entire Metro family. Muchas gracias. At last year's State of the Agency, my number 1 priority was to ensure that we were giving our transit riders better service. And I can confidently say we have changed that. Last October, we launched the Fairless System Initiative, which provides free transit to K through 12 and community college students. Transportation is one of the biggest expenses for any household. The launch of the Fairless System Initiative and the related expansion of our low-income fare Easy program has brought immediate relief to families across this county. And under the Fairless System Initiative, we have already distributed over 700,000 passes and have 4.7 million boardings. These programs are a statement of our values and a testament to our commitment to do better. And we are always looking to do even more. And just last month, the Metro Board took action to approve one of the most significant programs Metro has ever launched, the Transit Ambassador Program. And it is a $120 million program that will deploy 300 staff across the rail and bus network. The program offers a new tool to make Metro safer and more welcoming to everyone. Transit ambassadors are unarmed, uniformed workers that will help riders with directions, alert police of a threat, point people to homeless services, and keep an eye on vulnerable people, and check that seats are clean and passengers are safe. Transit ambassadors will be our eyes and our ears on the system and will help build a sense of community amongst our riders. We hope that transit ambassadors will make our riders' lives a little bit easier. But we know that our customers' struggles go far beyond just transportation. Our average bus rider's salary is just $18,000 a year. That means that many of our riders often experiencing housing insecurity. And I'm proud to say that Metro is one of the biggest developers in affordable housing across this county, if you didn't know that. Last year, we approved an updated housing policy for the agency that sets a goal of building 10,000 units over the next decade, including some 5,000 income-restricted units. We are all well on our way to meet that goal. In 2022 alone, we have already embarked on the construction of 300 affordable housing units across all of Metro properties. But we're not stopping there, folks. During my last meeting as chair, the Metro Board approved my motion to partner with LA County to deliver a land banking pilot program for vulnerable residents across the region.
Through our land bank pilot program, the Metro and LA County will acquire land near major infrastructure investments and redevelop the property into affordable housing. The land bank will be used as a tool to create more opportunities for affordable housing in areas that are experiencing rapid gentrification and displacement, especially in areas where major metro projects are being built. That will ensure that Metro riders can live and remain in their communities for decades to come. Upon taking the role of chair, my second priority was supporting small businesses. Small businesses, as you know, are the lifeblood of our economy. They make up over 90% of the businesses in Los Angeles County alone, and they employ hundreds of thousands of low-wage workers. Metro already does so much for our small business community, but I know that we can always do better. Our county is home to the most minority and women-owned businesses than any other county in the nation. This is why I introduced a goal at Metro to direct 48% of all contract and procurement dollars to small and disadvantaged businesses by 2028. That 48 by 28 aspirational goal is crucial for growth, especially as we recover from this pandemic. To help track our work towards this goal, we have also launched a disadvantaged business enterprise scorecard that displays how well our prime contractors are fulfilling their small business participation commitments. And another strategy we developed to support small businesses was to expand on our Eat, Shop, and Play program. This program originally started as a construction mitigation program. And as a result of a motion I authored last year, it will now be a program that uplifts small businesses along major transit corridors by giving them marketing assistance and technical assistance. As an $8 billion agency, Metro has the resources to ignite recovery here in Los Angeles County. We just needed to develop strategies to leverage all of those resources. Lastly, I focused my work as chair on stopping the devastating freeway expansions. The Metro Board recently adopted our objectives for highway projects, which now includes a provision that prioritizes minimal or zero displacement. That speaks to the years of work that we have done towards major freeway expansion projects like the 710 South. For years, residents rallied against the 710 South project. It was a costly project that would have displaced many, many communities and caused more pollution in an area that is already known as the diesel death zone. Last year, I introduced a motion to cease work on the project's environmental document, and that laid the foundation for the board's action earlier this year to cancel the project and adopt a no-build alternative. I cannot understate the importance of this action alone. After decades of massive investments in freeways, the cancellation of the 710 South project is a statement of our region's desire to do better. We remain committed to improving opportunities to walk, to bike, to take transit for all Angelenos. Instead of focusing on expanding freeways, we expanded the eligibility criteria for recipients of 710 North funding so that agencies can instead deliver multimodal projects in their respective cities. We have brought the North Hollywood-Pasadena BRT project forward to give residents a better option to get around without stepping in a car, and we have advanced major transit projects across the county, including the Regional Connector, which just reached substantial completion this year. That project will be a game changer. It will introduce 3 new stations in downtown Los Angeles that will connect with major cultural institutions like the Walt Disney Concert Hall, a new development designed by Frank Gehry called The Grand that was built through a partnership between the county and the city of Los Angeles. And we've also moved forward projects like the West Santa Ana branch, the Crenshaw LAX, the East San Fernando Valley Light Rail, the Gold Line Foothill Extension, the Gold Line East Side Extension, and the San Gabriel Valley Transit Study, which will explore a new bus rapid line potentially extending from the city of Los Angeles all the way to Pomona. Collectively, each of these actions were rooted in my vision to do better. Metro has always done more to move residents to and from their destinations. But moving forward, I believe that Metro can serve as a bridge to our community, to our culture, to our education, and opportunities that enhance the health and well-being of all of our residents. Thank you all for the opportunity to be your chair, and I look forward to continuing our work to make Los Angeles County a better place to get around. With that, I would also like to congratulate our new incoming chair, Ara Najarian. Ara is the longest-serving director currently sitting on the Metro Board and has also been serving as chair of the MetroLink Board of Directors. Ara has such a depth of experience in transportation and has been a wonderful friend and ally at Metro. Thank you, Ara, for your partnership, and I look forward to supporting you as you take on your new role as chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Solis. That was a great overview of some of the key accomplishments made over the past year. It is now my privilege to introduce Metro CEO Stephanie Wiggins. With just over a year at the agency this time around, Stephanie brings a long history of important leadership roles in the realm of public transit. She has a clear view of both Metro and the broader transportation landscape throughout the Southern California region. One of her driving principles is to place people at the center of everything Metro does. Last year at this time, she announced the creation of Metro's first Youth Council, saying that one of Metro's most critical rider groups were young people. I couldn't agree more. Please welcome Metro CEO Stephanie Wiggins.
Thank you, Himansi, for that wonderful introduction. I did announce last year our first ever Youth Council, and this year I get introduced by the co-chair. So I guess that means next year, Himansi, I may be introducing you as the CEO. Things happen fast around Metro. I want to thank the Youth Council for all their work this year. Having a Youth Council for Metro is so important, not just for Metro, but for all youth. Today's youth are tomorrow's leaders, and the Youth Council is helping us deliver a public transportation system that meets their needs for mobility and sustainability. So thank you, Youth Council. I want to give a warm welcome to all of our special guests, our board of directors. I see Supervisor Barger, Director Dutra, and my leadership team, my senior leadership team that's here today. I want to start by celebrating the bold leadership, vision, and dedication of our outgoing board chair, Supervisor Hilda Solis. Last year, Supervisor Solis and I did make that history as the first two women of color to lead Metro at the same time, and I could not have asked for a more thoughtful, strategic, energetic, and dedicated partner than Supervisor Solis during my first year as CEO of Metro. Chair Solis, you told us when you started that you wanted Metro to be better, to bring equitable transportation to every resident. And over the course of your term as chair, you made sure that Metro delivered on that, a transportation system with equity. You've been a champion for equitable transportation investments across LA County, from pushing for fareless options for our lower-income riders to engaging the community around the locally preferred route for the West Santa Ana Branch project. And I know, Director Dutra, we're going to change that name. I know you want that. This term. Chair Solis, you made sure that local neighborhood businesses were supported through the expansion of the Eat, Shop, Play initiative. And you did encourage us to use Metro's existing land holdings to partner to build those 10,000 affordable housing units over the next decade. And you led us to be more inclusive, to celebrate LA's diversity and our milestones. Your commitment to diversity, inclusion, and belonging moved us to institutionalize as policy commemorative tap cards to celebrate the culture and heritage of our riders and the communities we serve. So with that in mind, I'd like to present Chair Solis with a gift from my team. Madam Chair, please come back up here for a moment. So this is a collection of some of the many tap cards Metro has offered its customers during your term. We'd like to present them to you as a parting gift.
Thank you. This is beautiful.
Thank you. Oh, and I got the photo, right? Okay. Now, While I'm sad that Chair Solis is going to pass the gavel in a few minutes, I am excited about who she's passing the gavel to. Glendale City Councilmember Otto Najarian. I worked directly with Councilmember Najarian for a few months in his role as the chair of Metrolink when I was a CEO there. Councilmember Najarian is a true leader in transportation for our region. He emphasizes cooperation, sustainability, and system building in everything that he does. And he's a major advocate for all the cities in LA County. He's helped to shape so many of the institutions that help LA County move. And that's why I'm excited to work with him again as chair of the Metro Board over this next year. It's really important that we have a strong partnership with Metrolink. I know that. We will have a board chair now who is leading both agencies. So I look forward to working together in the interest of our customers who ride both systems. So welcome and congratulations. Now, last month, I did have the privilege of celebrating 1 year as CEO of Metro. In fact, as Supervisor Solis shared, I gave my first State of the Agency address 1 year ago today. And at that time, I told you that people are the most important ingredient to our current and future success here at Metro. A year later, I could not be more proud to work with the 11,000 people that make up Metro. People like Tamara Moten, a bus operator on the Orange Line at Division 8, our first zero-emission bus line in our fleet in Chatsworth. And Danny Chow, an extra board operator at Division 9 in El Monte. They ensure our customers are getting a transit experience that exceeds their expectations. Senior service attendants like Mike Babin, who works on the Red Line, and Eleanor Orozco at Division 1 in Los Angeles. They work every day to ensure our stations and facilities are clean for the millions of Angelenos who use our system. And project leaders like Stephanie Leslie and Brian Pennington, who are building new routes and helping to transform the way that LA moves. These people are the heart and soul of Metro. They are all dedicated people who work day in and day out to deliver a safe, caring, and reliable public transportation system for all our customers, and I thank them for their service to our community. Please join me. As your CEO, I want to tell all the amazing people of Metro how proud I am of all we've accomplished together in the past year. Now, wasn't that an amazing year in review video? Yes, last year we were on the road of recovery at this time and saw the moment to redefine public transportation. Our state was just starting to fully reopen, and our agency was wrestling with multiple converging crises. Transit ridership had been decimated as a result of this pandemic, but essential workers depended on transit more than ever. Lives were disrupted, work patterns and travel modes shifted, and the unhoused faced even greater obstacles to getting on their feet as housing prices increased drastically. And this competitive labor market, combined with the realities of working in a public-facing job during a deadly pandemic, it created a steep bus operator shortage that led us to cancel trips. And just as we thought things were beginning to turn around, we were stung by the Omicron variant, leading us to temporarily reduce our level of service. All of these issues affected Metro directly, and we needed to act quickly and boldly to address them. Last year, when Supervisor Solis took the gavel at our State of the Agency address, she urged us to think about what role Metro can play in addressing the multiple issues that were affecting our county, from this pandemic to the plight of the unhoused, the support of mom and pop businesses in our community. We know that Metro is more than a transportation provider and a way to access opportunity to education, jobs, healthcare, and recreation. It's a customer to thousands of small businesses throughout LA County. It's a catalyst facilitating the construction of thousands of affordable housing units near our transit stations. And it is an economic engine, helping people access jobs, all to raise the quality of life for Angelenos throughout the region. So we take our role at Metro seriously, and we know that we need to do everything we can to equitably support the 10 million people who live in LA County. Last fall, we did create free and reduced fare transit options for K-12 students, community college students, and low-income riders through our Go Pass and Life programs. And today, those students across our service area have taken more than 4.7 million free rides. And despite the operator shortages, Metro worked to improve our core bus service. In 2021, we completed our next-gen bus plan. We also expanded dedicated bus lanes in downtown LA. And just 2 weekends ago, we rolled out expanded bus service on more than 20 of our busiest routes. As a result, bus and rail ridership has increased 22% year over year, May 21 to May 22. And Metro continues to make progress on some of our most ambitious projects. As our community inches closer to the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games, we're moving forward on our 28 by 2028 program. And with the opening of the Crenshaw LAX K-Line and Regional Connector later this year, we are well on our way to being ready. We also delivered numerous pedestrian, bike, and active transportation improvements, including the newly revamped bike share in North Hollywood. And Metro began first and last mile planning for the 9 stations that will be on the West Santa Ana Branch corridor. Our Metro Board of Directors also just passed our largest ever budget with a robust, proactive $750 million investment to improve the customer experience. Now, this investment includes $184 million in additional cleaning, $263 million in next-gen capital improvements, and $296 million in customer safety. And thanks to our congressional delegation and the Biden-Harris administration, the federal government made a historic investment in Metro through the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and the American Rescue Plan. Now, I should note that the money that helped to support Metro operations from the Rescue Plan will be expended after this year. And as I mentioned in last year's address, Metro would develop a financial stability plan to provide a comprehensive approach to operations and capital project advancement. Now, we initiated this development with the equitable zero-based budgeting strategy, which will continue in this fiscal year. So, while we have made some great progress in this transition year, we also need to be honest about the things that didn't work so well. The bus operator shortage has caused service delays and disruptions. Our customers often had to deal with buses, trains, and stations that weren't as clean as they should have been. And societal issues exacerbated by this pandemic resulted in violence sometimes spilling onto our system. Now, while many of these issues are outside of Metro's control, I want to be clear. Their impact on our customers' experience is not acceptable to me. It's not acceptable to Metro's board of directors, our employees, or our customers. You see, I came back to Metro on a mission to transform the way that LA moves with a vision that Metro is Angelino's first choice for transportation. So that vision is hard enough to realize in a county as in love with the car as LA. But it's even harder when the system is perceived to be unclean, unreliable, or unsafe. We cannot become Angelino's first choice in transportation without addressing the one thing at the core of Metro's everyday operation, the customer experience. So I want to take a moment and address you, the Metro customer, directly. First, I want to thank you for riding Metro. The past year has been about getting Metro back on track as we're coming out of this pandemic. This year is about one thing, putting people first. And what do I mean by this? It means putting our customers first by moving the customer experience forward. It means putting our employees first by giving them an excellent work experience that helps them make the experience better for you. It means our system will be noticeably cleaner, safer, and more reliable to you, our customers, so that you can have confidence in choosing Metro. If you're a worker from the San Fernando Valley, I want you to choose to save thousands of dollars a year in gas by getting to work on a bus, microtransit, or a Metrolink train that is reliable and comfortable. If you're a student like Amanzi, Orisha, or Alan, I want you to choose to use GoPass, to hop on the train or bus for free, to get to school, family, and fun. If you're a grandparent from East LA, I want you to feel comfortable choosing our system to take the grandkids to the beach. Putting people first means centering people in all we do. It means setting concrete goals and making measurable progress to realize them on behalf of all of our customers. It means thinking differently about the investments we make in the customer experience, leveraging the talent of our people to come up with action plans and devoting the resources necessary to making them a reality. It really means shifting from being reactive to problems to being proactive with solutions that will improve the experience for you. Over the next few months, Metro will take bold, proactive steps to noticeably improve safety, security, and customer experience across the entire system. And these people behind me are going to hold me accountable for that. Last month, the board approved contracts to deploy hundreds of transit ambassadors to help customers on our buses, trains, stations, and stops. And contrary to what some people may think, these ambassadors are not here to do the work of law enforcement. Rather, they're an additional layer of eyes and ears and hands to help customers navigate the system and know the rules. They are one part of a comprehensive public safety plan. In addition to these ambassadors, Metro will double the number of homeless and mental health outreach workers on our system, improve lighting on our system, deploy additional unarmed security officers, and continue to deploy over half of our security and law enforcement staff at night to help keep our customers and employees safe. Now, oh, thank you. I hope you heard that, Gina. Okay. Now, while this all sounds good, I want to be clear. Our latest efforts to improve customer experience will not be just another in a long line of efforts that sound good but don't deliver enough. Like I said before, I want our customers and employees to see and feel a difference. All of this additional help, from the ambassadors to the extra cleaning crews, improved security systems, the homeless outreach and mental health professionals, and the strategic deployment of law enforcement, all of this is aimed at one thing: improving our customers' experience. And that's why I'm going to publicly share some goals today. And now I'm talking to you again, Metro customers, all of you. You will see results from all the investments we're making in the customer experience. My goal is for Metro to restore ridership to pre-pandemic levels by the next State of the Agency. That means we will see an increase in ridership from the 789,000 to 1.2 million average weekday riders. While this is contrary to national forecasts, where's Conan freaking out, I believe we can get there because we are opening more than 10 miles of new rail service this year. We're restoring service on our bus lines, and we're making a significant investment in providing a fast, clean, reliable, and safe system. So we will bring in more customers as a result of these investments. I'm also setting a goal for our GoPass Fairless Rider program for our K-12 and community college students. I want to increase the number of our GoPass boardings from just under 5 million today to 15 million by this time next year. And finally, I want to substantially reduce the number of unhoused people sheltering on our system by this time next year. Now, let me shift in these heels because this goal deserves a little bit more explanation. Over the past few years, systems across America have really grappled with what to do about unhoused people sheltering on public transit. And when I say sheltering on public transit, I do not mean people taking the bus or the train to get to where they need to go. Over the past few years, far too many people, especially in the overnight hours, use our system as a place to sleep, to shelter, and to do other things that the housed have the privilege of doing in the privacy of their own homes. And at last year's address, I stated that Metro would pursue new and more effective ways of addressing homelessness. And I told you that Metro would address unhoused people in our system with compassion and dignity and would collaborate with our city and community partners and social services. And I remain committed to this. And you can see this commitment in our actions. In this past year, Metro and PATH homeless outreach teams connected with more than 5,000 individuals, permanently housed nearly 200, and placed nearly 400 additional people into interim housing. And we've targeted this work to our most affected parts of our system. In January of this year, we noted that over 100 people were seeking shelter at our 7th Street and Metro Center station entrances and city sidewalks each night. We dedicated a team to do outreach at 3 a.m. before the station opens, and we increased security and law enforcement presence in the early morning hours. Now, with our outreach efforts, specifically at 7th and Metro, we have helped over 150 people who were sheltering at the station entrances to find interim housing, and we connected hundreds more to social and medical services. And at this one station, we are seeing an over 60% reduction in the number of people seeking shelter after the system closes. And we plan to do even more in this coming year. A few months ago, I requested a study to fully understand the state of homelessness on the Metro Transit system and evaluate how effective our current outreach model is. And in the coming months, we will have the results of that study, which will allow us to set concrete goals and deploy resources to the greatest effect. And thanks to the leadership of this board and our partnerships with the county and our cities, as well as community-based organizations, Metro has already expanded the availability of services to help the unhoused sheltering on our system. And in May, we also entered into an agreement with the county's Department of Mental Health to provide crisis response services for people that need emergency help while on our system. This year, we are doubling down on our efforts by increasing our homeless outreach partners and mental health crisis teams twofold. And in this coming year, we will have many of the tools we've been asking for to help the unhoused on our system find alternatives to sheltering on the system. We will use them to get results for our customers and frontline employees. So, I'd like to close my remarks today with a little reflection. You know, I've been in the transportation industry for almost 3 decades, and Director Dutra, when I graduated from Whittier College in 1992, I don't think anyone would have believed that Metro would be as big, as expansive, and as comprehensive as it is today. In 1992, Metro only had 1 rail line in operation. I don't think that people would have believed that in 2022, we'd be opening our 7th rail line. And that can take people on Metro Rail all the way from Azusa to Santa Monica. So one of my favorite quotes is from the late author Kelly Lee Phipps. It says, "If you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. But if you argue for your possibilities, you get to create them." And over the course of my career, I've heard countless people argue for our limitations. They used to say that public transportation could not work in Los Angeles because we're too dependent on the car, or because our county is too sprawling for transit to work. But leaders like Mayor Tom Bradley and Supervisor Kenneth Hahn, they didn't argue for those limitations. They argued for our possibilities. And today, Metro is faced with some real difficult and historic challenges, but I'm not going to let those challenges limit our possibilities. We've got some pretty ambitious goals for the coming year. I'm confident that our team here at Metro will accomplish each of these. They're right here. No greater people than can do this. I believe that Metro can deliver a clean, safe, fast, and reliable transit system for our 10 million people that call Los Angeles County home and the 50 million people who visit our region each year. I believe that Metro can help our community address those difficult issues like bike and pedestrian safety, job creation, small business resiliency, sustainability, and housing affordability to facilitate an equitable pandemic recovery. I believe that we can bring in a new generation of transit riders into the system, and we can change the way our county moves. And I believe this because I believe in the 11,000 members of the Metro family. Chair Solis, thank you again for being such a great leader. Incoming Chair Najarian, I'm really looking forward to working with you again. Our team is going to need your strong leadership to achieve the goals we've laid out here today. I'm really excited for this next year, and I'm excited to strive for our goals and welcome millions more people onto our system. And I am excited to see all that we can do together. Go Metro.
Thank you, Stephanie, for those inspiring words and your vision and goals for the upcoming year. I would now like to take this opportunity to introduce to you the new incoming board chair, Mr. Ara Najarian. Mr. Najarian has served on Glendale City Council since 2005 and has held the position as mayor of the city of Glendale 4 times during his tenure. He serves on both boards of Metro and MetroLink, and is in fact he's chair of both boards for the rest of 2022. And additionally, he is a member and past chair of the San Fernando Valley Council of Governments and past chair of the Glendale Housing Authority and Glendale Redevelopment Agency. Ara is a staunch advocate for improving mobility options for the entire region and will bring new vision and goals as he assumes the role of Metro Board Chair. Please welcome Ara Najarian.
Good morning. Buenos dias. Pari Luis. That's Armenian, by the way, in case you didn't know. We're going to throw some different culture to the Metro Board this year. Thank you, Orisha Laman, for that introduction. And I'm so glad to see the Youth Council take shape this year as one of Stephanie's flagship ideas to give you a voice to some of our youngest transit riders. And thank you also to my family who is here, my wife Palmyra, my mom and dad, my brother Armin, my sister Mauro, my son Christopher, who sometimes I forget to introduce and he lets me hear it, my niece Elizabeth, and my sister-in-law Naira. Thank you for coming. Thank you to my fellow directors for coming. Fernando, Catherine, Jackie, my sister from another mister. We joke about that, but we get along very well, and they are equally as committed to this agency as I am. I know that you've all seen me in my many official duties over the years, but this particular occasion is special. It reflects the culmination of my 16 years on the Metro Board and my tenacious efforts to help move the needle toward better mobility for our entire region. As incoming board chair, I'd like to share my seasoned, and some would say battle-hardened, perspective and priorities for the coming year. Not that being on the Metro Board is a battle, but it has challenges. My perspective comes from being the single longest member on the Metro Board of Directors. And as was mentioned, I joined the board back in 2006. But my perspective also comes from serving on the MetroLink board for nearly as many years. So it's safe to say that some of my views on transportation dovetail with the goals of MetroLink, where I serve as board chair. In this dual role, I hope to champion a larger and more holistic approach for improving mobility at the broader regional level in Southern California and beyond. At the end of the day, mobility doesn't end at our county borders, and I'll discuss that in a little more detail. But as Metro entered into its fiscal year on July 1st, I think we are at a decisive moment in the agency's history. Metro's ambitious and multifaceted agenda to improve mobility in LA County is gaining pace. One only need to look at Metro's long list of transportation projects now in the pipeline to see that's true. In fact, I don't think there's any other agency with as many projects going forward that we have. Yet we are still facing some formidable challenges across a number of fronts that will take keen leadership, firm resolve, and political will to overcome in the days ahead. As I mentioned, Metro's mandate to improve mobility is enormous and increasingly complex. Just last month, the Metro Board approved the agency's biggest budget to date, an $8.8 billion budget that seeks to, among other things, improve the customer experience, fund the new rail lines opening later this year, rebuild our transit ridership, boost public safety, and continue to expand our transit system. These are all huge goals, and they come on the heels of 2 years of unprecedented challenges brought upon us by the persistent COVID-19 pandemic. At its worst, the pandemic took a huge toll on our ridership. More than 2 years after the pandemic began, we are today still clawing our way back to pre-pandemic ridership levels. We currently have about 70% of the ridership we enjoyed prior to COVID-19. As the next year unfolds, I anticipate ridership to continue to grow steadily, particularly as we continue to bring back bus services that were cut during the pandemic. On June 26, we made new bus service changes designed to provide more frequent, reliable, and predictable service for our customers. That will certainly move us in the right direction to attract new and returning riders to the Metro system in the coming year. And as incoming board chair, my priorities will be threefold: continuing and strengthening our agency's commitment to make safety our #1 priority, focusing on delivering our transportation projects on time and on budget, and third, delivering more countywide projects that are regionally integrated and truly benefit the entire county as well as the broader Southern California region. Let's talk safety. First among these priorities will be in ensuring the Metro system is as safe as possible for our customers. The truth is that no one should feel threatened or intimidated on any part of our transit system. We need to take all steps necessary to promote a safe and pleasant transit experience for all, even as the crime levels spike and the homeless challenge gets increasingly dire in LA County. If we have any chance to bring people back into the transit system at pre-pandemic ridership levels, they simply have to feel safe. Last month, our board approved a new transit ambassador program that will provide a dedicated staff of diverse, specially trained individuals to offer in-person support to Metro bus and rail riders. I think Metro has made some other important strides recently to improve safety for our riders. Metro's recent Respect the Ride campaign is a good example. Metro's System Security and Law Enforcement Department has joined with numerous other departments to tackle key safety improvements. This includes bus and rail operations, the TAP program, custodial staff, marketing, PATH homeless outreach teams, and law enforcement. They are all working together in a multi-layered approach to making our stations safer and cleaner. And they're helping raise awareness for riders to be more respectful of one another on our system. I'd like to see Metro's Respect the Ride campaign continue over the next fiscal year so the team can continue to make improvements that matter most to our customers. Now, I know there's an enormous homeless challenge that affects our county. While the Metro system is not immune from those challenges, we will have to continue to sustain a countywide effort to address this challenge. We must work together to help the mentally ill get the help they need so they do not become a threat to themselves or other transit riders. I'm glad to see that Metro has recently partnered with the LA County Department of Mental Health to provide multidisciplinary crisis response teams to help the homeless who are in mental crisis. These teams will de-escalate potentially dangerous situations and connect people with long-term treatment and support. Thank you, Supervisor Hilda Solis, for working with Supervisor Janice Hahn and the Department of Mental Health to establish this important relationship. It will be an important tool in our tool belt to make our transit system safer for everyone in the months ahead. Over the next year, Metro will be continuing work on its next procurement for law enforcement services. Now, while there's been a range of public opinion regarding the need for law enforcement and unarmed transit ambassadors on Metro, I personally feel we need a hybrid approach. A combination of both law enforcement and transit is a great attempt to keep all our transit customers safe. I look forward to hearing how this new procurement progresses over the next year to ensure that our customer safety is priority one. Let's talk about delivering projects on time and on budget. My second priority as board chair will be to look at the projects we have and ensure they're being delivered on time and on budget. With the sheer number of projects Metro is now tasked with delivering to the taxpayers in the coming decades, diligent project management is a must. It's not a sexy concept, but I believe we must increase our efforts at the project management level to scrutinize the appropriateness of design, identify cost savings, and monitor project progress closely. I'm interested in seeing if we can implement a new level of project management or possibly utilize a project czar who's in charge of project management to help keep our transportation projects on the right track. Now, at the board level, we should be apprised of project management issues on a continual basis. I believe there should be more triggers in the project management process so that important issues can come to the board as soon as they arise. Once our board is made aware of a problem, it's much easier for us to give some direction for resolving the issue. As Metro directors, we also play a role in helping ensure that projects are planned to be delivered on time and on budget. But as a board, we must resist the temptation to put more ornaments on the Christmas tree in forms of betterments if the project did not originally include them. In these ways, I believe we can strengthen our project management oversight, but only by working closely with both staff and the board will we best ensure that we deliver what we promised to our county taxpayers. Delivering more countywide projects. My third priority as board chair is to deliver more countywide projects that are regionally integrated and provide a larger benefit for the entire region. This is a recognition that mobility doesn't end at our county borders, and we all must think and act regionally. Under my chairmanship, Metro is poised to open 2 new rail lines that do just that, the Regional Connector and the Crenshaw LAX transit projects. The Regional Connector will link all of Metro's light rail lines through downtown Los Angeles. In doing so, it will create a one-seat, one-ride opportunity for those traveling east-west or north-south across the entire Los Angeles County area. The Regional Connector is truly a missing link in our rail system. A few of you might be surprised that the Regional Connector's origins began back in 2006, many years ago. But that's when I authored a motion requesting that Metro study how a Regional Connector could connect the Gold Line and the Red Line and better link the San Gabriel and San Fernando valleys. Now, in authoring that motion, I declare that I essentially became the father of the Regional Connector. Any objections? Thank you. I set the wheels in motion in what would eventually become a 2-mile rail connection that would bring together the Metro L line, which is the Gold Line, the A line, which is the Blue Line, the E line, which is the Expo line, the B line, which is the Red Line, and the D line, which is the Purple lines, at 7th Street Metro Center Station. We have to do something about once we fix the West Santa Ana branch, we've got to work on those rail lines. I look forward to seeing this project finally become a reality when we open it to the public later this year. The Crenshaw LAX Transit Project is another project that will open under my chairmanship, and it too will provide a greater regional benefit. The Crenshaw LAX line is important because it will ultimately lead us to LAX via the Airport Metro Connector Station, now under construction. It's scheduled to open in 2024. And let's hear it for that, everybody. Because as you know, we've been trying to build a transit line that goes to LAX for decades. The Crenshaw LAX line and later the Airport Metro Connector Station will make it possible for travelers from all over the world to transfer quickly and easily between LAX and Metro's expansive transit network. Once and for all, Los Angeles will have a direct transit connection to its own international airport. It will be a game changer. One of the ways we can deliver more countywide projects is to pursue more cost-effective projects, ones that do not require huge capital investments, yet still provide valuable mobility improvements using our existing road and freeway networks. I fully support bus rapid transit because it can be more quickly implemented and for a much lower price than light rail or subway. Metro has identified 5 top BRT corridors in addition to those included in Measure M throughout our county. These include corridors on Atlantic, Broadway, Sunset, Venice, and La Cienega. I'd like to see these projects continue to advance into project development in the future years. Now, when I refer to delivering more countywide projects that are regionally integrated, I'm also referring to active transportation initiatives that benefit bicyclists, walkers, scooters, and rollers. We can and must provide strategic first-mile, last-mile solutions that give our transit customers more choices to reach their destinations while leaving their cars at home. Projects like the Rail-to-Rail Active Transportation Corridor project, which broke ground just yesterday, are exactly what I'm referring to. The Rail-to-Rail project will include biking and walking paths to the future K-Line, Fairview Heights Station, and the A-Line, remember that's the blue line, Slauson Station. That will create more options for active transportation, connections to transit, and access to opportunity in South Los Angeles. Projects like these are important because at the end of the day, Metro is not just an agency that runs bus and rail lines. We are a transportation agency tasked with, among other things, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, cutting traffic congestion, and improving public health. Active transportation projects can do all of these things and more. I will continue to be a strong supporter of projects that encourage human-powered methods to connect with our transit system more easily under my chairmanship. Integrated projects that provide a greater benefit to the entire region can literally transform the way people get around. A good example of regional integration includes our efforts to make key improvements to the Metrolink Antelope Valley line. Director Barger works very hard on that with me. One of the busiest and most important rail corridors on the Metrolink system. 3 years ago, I co-authored a motion to pursue a number of capital projects to improve the Antelope Valley line that could potentially enable 30-minute bidirectional service to and from Santa Clarita, we've got fans in the audience, and hourly service to Lancaster. Our list of improvements will have long-term and far-reaching benefits for Metrolink, freight lines, and the future arrival of high-speed rail in this corridor. Last December, I joined Directors Barger and Solis to co-author a comprehensive motion directing Metro staff to identify actions that would improve mobility through strategic high-speed rail investments. We must be ready to take advantage of the state's record surpluses and the federal government's recently passed infrastructure bill, among others, to obtain the funding we need to build the projects that will help improve Metrolink and Amtrak service while paving the way for high-speed rail in the LA region. Thinking regionally can be transformational and change the way the entire Southern California region travels in the years ahead. I'm honored to play a role as the new board chair in helping plot Metro's direction in the incoming year. While we have many challenges in our goal to improve our future mobility, I believe that we all are equal to the challenge. We will succeed in making our entire region a better place to live, work, and play through strategic transportation investments that will benefit us and all future generations of Angelenos. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Najarian, for your insight and vision as we move forward this coming year. We would now like to take the opportunity for the passing of the gavel from Board Chair Solis to incoming Board Chair Najarian.
Okay. I guess I turn this over to you.
One last bang for old time's sake.
All right, folks, ready? There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair Solis, I kindly accept your gavel, and will use it wisely as you have.
Thank you. I just want to say that it's a privilege and honor to serve on the board of directors, but having worked with ARA now for several years, at least the past 8 years, both on Metro, we're going to have fun. Thank you. Congratulations.
Well, that wraps up our presentation this morning, and I can tell you I'm pretty excited about what's ahead to improve the customer experience and make Metro Angelino's first choice in transportation. We have some work ahead of us, but it's important work that I'm proud to do. Esto concluye nuestra presentación de esta mañana y puedo decirles que estoy muy entusiasmada con lo que está por venir. Vamos a mejorar la experiencia del cliente para que los residentes de Los Ángeles elijan a viajar en Metro. Tenemos mucho trabajo por adelante, pero es trabajo importante y lo hago con mucho orgullo. Gracias a todos por venir. Por favor, únanse a nosotros para la recepción y no se olviden de visitar el Metro Art Bus en el cual está afuera. Thank you all for coming. Please join us for the reception, and don't forget to check out the Metro Art Bus outside before you go.